Shigeru Miyamoto looked into the eyes of his newly adopted Shetland sheepdog named Piku and thought, I could make this a video game. That's exactly what he did, and one of the greatest games for the Nintendo DS was inspired, which is Nintendogs. It is the best. It was a global hit and adored still to this day. I still love it. Oh my gosh, I love it. For all those kids who could never have a real dog, you could have your virtual dog, and this was actually a fun pet simulation game. It was a game for everyone. It made a big impact on a generation of kids who got to experience it. For many, it was the first time they learned about responsibility, so much so that even now, we've never forgotten our dogs, even as decades have passed.
Give him a bath.
Oh, he loves that.
Doesn't he? Yeah.
It's like your real Alfie.
I know, isn't he? Let me show you. I'll tell him to give the high five.
Knock on the door to be let inside where you're given a budget of $1,000. You can do the main objective and buy the dog needed to start the game, or you could detour back outside into where they keep the display dogs, which aren't for sale. Why are the dogs not for sale? What are display dogs? Is it just the owner's dogs? Probably. I mean, what do you mean? What do you mean? Or they simply serve as puppets, representing the mascots of the first 3 Nintendogs games which came out, trapped in every game to never find a home. Which really sucks for them, but at least we'll make one dog's dreams come true, so knock knock, we're going back inside. I had to start with Dashchund and Friends because that was my first Nintendogs game I ever experienced. So each game comes with 6 breeds to choose from, with 3 specific flavors to each, along with the most important things to know about that specific breed. The Dachshunds are like little torpedoes zooming by, Jesus. And they're priced at £540. This one's a British one. The next dogs are Pugs, available in white bread, toasted, and burnt, priced at £590. Then Shih Tzus for £585. Ah yes, and then the ever so popular Basic Beagle for the low price of €510. The options are the white lemon one, the one with the sharp white point on the face, or the one who's been smoothed with the blur tool. Then there's the Golden Retrievers, which also come in 3 different flavors, but they're also golden, don't worry. They are £550. Lastly, there's my personal favorite, Siberian Huskies. This was the dog breed I remember getting when I first played this game. I'm sure a lot of kids did. I loved Huskies as a kid, I still do. This coat pattern with the big dome head, the most striking black fur, that was my boy. Surprisingly, it's only £528. So the most expensive dog to buy would be a Pug, then a Shih Tzu, a Golden Retriever, Dachshund, Husky, and the cheapest are the Bagels. They're the budget dogs. I don't know how pricing is determined, if it matters. I don't think so. I just wanted to collect the data, you know? The next game I'm revisiting is Chihuahua and Friends, which was the version my sister got, so I remember playing through it as well. It sets up the same way with a knock on the door and a big budget. We got dollars, baby, to check out the kennel with, but watch where you're going because you might step on these little things running around. Oh, they're the dogs on the cover. Yeah, the Chihuahuas. There's some Yorkshire Terriers. I don't like the face for that photo, and once again, the dog options are a desaturated version, a saturated one, and then one with some contrast and dark shadows pumped up. But when they're all in a cluster, they just look the same. Oh, what's this? Some British dogs at the American kennel? They've got a very long name. And this is also a picture I greatly dislike. You Brits can take it back. Just don't let them find out about the other British dog in the kennel. We got Shetland sheepdogs, which is so cute. Then I found out there's boxers in this game, like for the first time. They're really forgettable. I'm sorry, I never got a boxer. I don't know anybody who did. It feels like I'm learning for the first time they're in this game, I swear. And lastly, the German Shepherd said, oh god, I hate seeing that. God, the face! The one face on this I hate seeing the most. It's this one. I fear this picture. This dog's eyes are small and beady. It looks like a fading rat. It just looks creepy. The dog is fine. The picture is not. Okay. I've decided I will get the bargain dog. A simple and humble Shetland sheepdog for $518. Welcome to your new home. Last game I'm running through is Dalmatian and Friends. It's a little bit of a special game with a special dog. It came out later on, and so I never experienced it, and it wasn't in that initial bundle, so there's no Dalmatians at the forever display dog lot. But I really want to try it now. Can't wait. Bam. Skip ahead. We have one. Now, the dogs are nervous. They have anxiety. But once you pet them for a minute, they eventually relax enough for you to name it.
Lucky, Maxwell, Daisy. Lucky, Maxwell, Daisy.
What a super ambitious feature that was greatly praised, which added to the realness of the pet simulation game and showed off the features of the Nintendo DS. Okay, voice commands are super fun when you're playing them on the DS, but playing on an emulator is hell. The mic is messed up. Lobo. No! Uh-oh. Lobo. Lobo. Dang, I confused him. Lobo. 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 Lo. So my dogs are going to learn their names via white noise, which I will use a hotkey for, and it's finicky enough, but then with the puppy RNG thrown in as a factor, it could be bad. Names were easy enough. Once the dog learned its name, however, you needed to still practice by saying it and have the dog hear it and respond to it. Although it can't be heard, I'm in a fight with the hotkey. It's going off, and I'm going off dog facial expressions. Eventually, they get it, and then they need to learn how to sit, which is the first trick in the book. Took a sec, but easy enough. However, the real challenge presents itself and goes into hard mode when I have to get the dog to come by name and then immediately get them to sit. So with the hotkey thing, the sit is going to be like a tap-tap, and they're going to have to figure it out and differentiate. I believe in them. The belief I had was taken away. What was a nuisance hurdle for Paint and Lobo, it was horrible for Kip. They eventually performed it, Kip did not. Kip isn't smart. Kip doesn't understand. Trying to get Kip to do this took a ridiculous amount of attempts. It was not working. All I could do was watch his little confused head tilts and noises as the gears turned in his little puppy brain, trying to comprehend what was happening. Oh, Kip, I was so overjoyed when you finally learned it. Oh my gosh. But that's the start of the games. The house is quiet. The dog's hungry and thirsty. It says so on their birth certificate looking thing that keeps you updated on everything. So the first step's off to the shop to buy some water, some dry food, some shampoo. You'll need to know if your dog is long or short haired. Check the birth certificate. Also buy a dog brush if you care about your dog, making sure to recognize again the difference between long hair and short hair. And then some fashion accessories, but overall not a lot, just bare bones. So going home, feed the dog, water the dog. I think my first ASMR experience was basically this. Afterwards, you can walk. Walking the dog is such a fun part of the game. Miyamoto literally took Pick for a walk and thought, I could make this a video game feature. Bill Trident explains, I don't know if you've ever had a dog. I'm a dog owner myself and can verify this is very true. When you have a dog and you take your dog on a walk, you invariably encounter other dog owners. Because of that fact, you both have dogs, you generally stop and talk to one another and have a conversation with somebody or an encounter with someone you otherwise might not have had. I have to ask, do people do this? Take your dog for a walk, spot another person who also owns a dog, and immediately go talk to them about it? To go have an encounter with somebody that otherwise you might not have? I don't know, that sounds wild in real life. But also, it's in the game in Nintendogs, and it's super fun in there. Alright, so when you go for a walk, your dog's very weak, and he can't go very far. You're presented with a big map to explore, but are limited to the constraints of the dog's stamina. The mystery boxes that blink are either a surprise gift or a dog encounter. You can draw a simple route, or try and make it over to a park or a gym. Also, I gave the dogs adorable collars, but in Paint's case, I didn't start with a collar, but instead a fireman's hat. Because in the initial games, you could only unlock the Dalmatian breed after finding the rare fireman's hat while out on a walk. It was a super rare item and hard to get that breed, so it was a super rare breed. So for many, the only hope to get it was to wait until they made a whole game based on it, and then bam, you get full reign of Dalmatians. So the presents on the walk in the beginning are simple, useless things, kind of like sticks, tissue boxes, juice boxes, disposable cameras, and so on. But as you go, You gradually get better loot and sometimes some rare items. This is partly why walks are so fun, because each present you find it's just a roll of the dice. You could get some awesome stuff from it. You weren't allowed to go on walk after walk, though, to farm those gifts, because once you got home and tried to do that, you're scolded and told to let your dog rest. There's a 30-minute cooldown period where walks are banned, and then you can go out again. When you're out to collect some surprises and you sometimes run across random gifts, it feels like an awesome bonus. As a child, there was nothing more painful than running right past a present and being too far out of bounds to pull the dog back to it. But here's a pro gamer tip. You can tell when there's a surprise when the dog on the map stops for a moment. There, you'll either find some kid's lost birthday present, or garbage. The random gifts tend to also have the rare items, so be on the lookout. Some of the rare items are insane, like a literal bar of gold, which you can find on a walk and sell for $2,000. That's 3.9 beagles. There's more specific RNG to this too. The presents are random on the walks, but they're also in predetermined areas, which means you can probably remember where one once was, and there's a good chance it'll spawn in that place again. You're also much more likely to get trash over a present if the dog isn't well cared for. Maybe it's a sign telling you that you're a garbage dog owner who can't even take care of a virtual dog. You might as well have let it eat garbage because you don't know what you're doing. After eating trash, the all-knowing birth certificate will even say what the dog munched on. Or just be a good dog owner and tug the leash until the dog isn't interested anymore. You can also tug the leash to go fast, let the dog run, and soar for brief moments. While at the store picking up shampoo, dog brushes, whatever, be sure to grab a frisbee as well. Pick from red or blue, you'll need one for practice. Once you're at the park, the game will straight ahead tell you what the park is for, and that it serves a great place to practice for disc competitions. Ah yes, competitions. Another great aspect of the game. Kip's not good at catching frisbees, he's a noob. Lobo's a little better with it, but all dogs start as beginners. Now I know we only spent 3 minutes in the park practicing, but I'm confident Lobo can handle a disc competition. Let's do it.
Hello everybody and welcome to the beginner class of the disc competition. The battle for supremacy is nearing its finale. Here to cover the action is yours truly, Ted Rumsworth, with analysis by my friend and associate Archie Hubbs.
Thanks, Ted, and a great hello to everyone out there watching. Ready for this place to go, the dogs?
Now the goal here is to earn at least 6 points. Any dog that does that will move up to the open class. We're finally down to our last entrant. Now it's the husky, Lobo. Its trainer is Yop Yop. What do you think of Lobo, Archie?
I'll tell you, Ted, he looks like me in my younger days.
Yes, so with that, let's begin. Oh, that's an error, folks. There's still plenty of time. That was huge, Ted. A huge miss.
Wow, how very novice of me to lose. The other contest I adore is the agility one. It's super cute to take the dog to the gym to practice. I love the little dinky hurdles set up. How little the dog would sometimes just still jump right into it, like a complete novice as well. But you gotta build up their skills. They're babies, you know? These poor babies, they're just too scared to go through the big blue tunnel. They whimper and you have to coax them along with some whistles, but you know, they're babies. They gotta build up their novice level to expert, and you know, it takes time. Kip was a natural though. I'm so proud of the Shetland sheepdog breed and so proud of Kip. After acing the beginner class, you move on to the open classes, which ramps up the difficulty, introducing things like double bars to jump and a seesaw. I never appreciated it much as a kid, but it's super fun and realistic having to train this pup. The seesaw especially, because first you need to get the dog to find the courage to even stand on it without whimpering, and then coax them along. Once the teeter-totter moves though, it scares the dog, and usually once it goes to the floor, the dog just runs or jumps right off, resulting in a miss. Once the dog is used to running on the seesaw and knows how it moves, they just blast through. So then the second task is having to train the dog to pause before the thing falls down and they can get off. Real life agility contests also demonstrate this. They're actually insane to watch.
Our agility judge.
All the way around. It's key to communication, and she's doing a fantastic job.
That's an error, folks.
Contenders here as well. That's all fine.
Again, nice inches. Look at those weak pulls. There you go, Lobo. There we go. Oh.
After winning contests, you get prize money. The contests are free to enter, so once your dog is ready to handle competition, you can just cash them in to buy another dog once you get some earnings. But if your dog ends up in third and you only have pocket change, like 30 pounds in winnings, it's fine. You can go to the secondhand shop, you can sell a lot of your items in order to afford the dog. Leather collar, take it. Bubble blower, I'm not going to figure out how to use the blow feature on an emulator, so take it. A tennis ball? Yeah, I know I own next to nothing. Every dollar counts, take it. And lastly, 60 cents for one bag of dog food. Luckily, 510 pounds is all I need for a beagle. Thank you for being a bargain price. The one with the knife is intimidating enough. Maybe he can grow up to be part of the Beagle Brigade who sniffs out drugs at the airport, like a narc. I won't name him that though. I'll name him Buster. With Kip's winnings and good fortune, I just buy another Sheltie. It's a kind and gentle looking female one. I name her Horse because she looks like one. Kip does too. All this basically, that's all the core components of Nintendogs. So later on, Nintendogs added cats. There were more games. I never played these, but I figured recently, in this day and age, that maybe there was a Nintendogs for the Switch, because they had made more before. It'd been years. I mean, surely there was a new and improved pet simulation game for the Switch, so that a new generation of kids could experience virtual animals. But to my surprise, there was no Nintendogs title for the Switch. The only main pet simulation game was called Little Friends. Not created by the same folks behind Nintendogs, but the description was simple enough, and I figured that since Nintendogs paved the way and was such a big hit, this one would be good too. I mean, that's what one would think. So I paid the pricey $50 and jumped in, but it was a trap. This is a bad pet simulation game, and I have to talk about it because I have to justify spending $50 on this thing. Honestly, this isn't totally Little Friends bad, but more like this is an example of what might make a bad simulation game over a good one. So you start with pet selection, and I know we just started, but I really don't like the background music because it just blares and it's hard to ignore. It just sounds so rowdy, like I'm a cowboy or something whatever else. The animals here are called Friends, and it begins with 6 breeds as well, but this time there's a lot more options and coat pattern to choose from, which I appreciate. Plus you can filter between sexes and the different patterns, so I enjoy that. No more back and forth and back and forth and back and forth like with Nintendogs. Unfortunately, there's no display dogs though. Lucky, Maxwell, Daisy, they're gone. Forever. I don't have much to say on the appearance of the dogs' breeds. The graphics seem nice, and like I said, I do enjoy the different colors and markings. The Laps look like seals. In my opinion, the best looking breed is the German Shepherds, and thank God there's no creature resembling that Chupacabra from Nintendogs. I picked the dog with the stripes on his arms and named him Thylacine, because that's the first thing that came to mind, rest in pieces. Once he's home, I still have to pet him, and this might be a me issue, but it's kind of difficult to do in this game with the Joy-Cons. It's clunky. But at least the dog enjoys it. In this game, you have friendship levels, like it's a Pokemon game or something. It helps you unlock things that you can do. Mom and Dad send me stuff, which they do often. Oh boy, do I get gift after gift each time I open the game. I go to the food shop, I mean like a good dog owner, but I need friend points or tickets. I'm not sure why it's double the currency, but you get friend points by caring for the animal and tickets for also just doing a whole jumble of methods. So I buy food, I get badges for doing kind of nothing, just whatever, like some sort of Boy Scout. The friend points are a joy to earn because when you get some, your dog just explodes with happiness, even if you're just playing fetch or something. He's just so thrilled that just bam. Onto the walk. Okay, the first walk is the funnest because it's new, it's just exploration. But after that, it goes downhill. It's really dull. Firstly, instead of presents on the walk, there's balloons tethered to the ground all over the place. It kind of takes away the surprise and whatever. The dog can dig until they get released into the air, which probably isn't great for the environment, but you don't get a tangible reward, you get friend points or tickets, which is not very exciting. Rather than marking spots or going to the bathroom in seemingly random places like in Nintendogs, you've got these specific marked locations where the dog will stop and go to. And I really don't understand what the bars on the side keep track of. The numbers change per walk, it seems, but you know, they're there. I don't know what to tell you. The walk is set and it feels like the same route each time, so with all this stuff together happening over and over again, it just makes it really dull. When coming back from the walk, the dog is usually filthy, even though he never hit the ground once, but you can clean him up again by brushing the fur. Okay, maybe this is just me, again, but I can't figure out how to wash the dog with water. I click the X when prompted, but nothing ever happens. I can't find anyone being able to wash the dog. So, just brush him clean. The next thing you can do is go to the park and play with a frisbee, which you don't walk to, but you just select to go. It's fun, but the frisbees are limited for some reason. They break after use. I don't understand that. The discs are to prep for a contest, which is kind of the only other thing to do in the game. The contests here don't have announcers like Ted and Archie, which is extremely unfortunate. You're still competing with other dogs, but you're also doing it at the same time. I don't know any disc competition that does that, where you're supposed to have all the contestants participate on the field at once and let them have at it. But here we are. Plus, the dogs are kind of meaningless. At least in Nintendogs, the dogs keep coming up, and you recognize the names and even how your dog interacts with them. While on walks, your dog barks to notify there's another dog there, and it's time for an unforgettable encounter. The owner tries small talk, but the main focus is the dogs and whether they show aggression, hate each other, whatever, or they end up falling in love. The music also illustrates how your dog feels towards the other dog. Pick is even in the game, with the owner Shiggy. But yeah, contests are okay, I guess. But you can't enter one until your friendship level is at 10. Unfortunately, this means grinding for friendship. I also need to grind in order to get a cat, which is when you can unlock the Friendship Plaza at level 15. And even though they scaled levels in the beginning so fast because they were just overjoyed with food or other basics, after level 7 or so, this is just an unenjoyable slog to get through, to be honest. There's very little things to do. You can pet the dog, feed it, walk it over and over and over again. But after a second of each, I sigh because the climb for a cat is just so long. I don't get that many points. But eventually that threshold is reached, and after that you can go to the plaza to look at friends again. There's 3 cat breeds: Japanese, no ears, and American. I get the cat and replace my dog, and then get another cat, you know. My dog gets filthy every time I get home. He looks like a piglet sometimes. But yeah, you can just get as many friends as you want, really, because you can only have 3 at a time, but take your animal to the hotel, which has a ton of slots. You pay to put it there. 10,000 points later, you can just pick another friend at no charge, you know? In the end, I just have a house of cats, which is ideal. But that's the basics of the game. Not much to it. Just definitely kinda pretty boring. In conclusion, I guess I wanted to just mention it too, because I wanted to say Nintendogs is a classic, and it's continued to be fun after all these years, because of its unique components and care that was put into it. Thank you, Pick, for the inspiration, and thank you for watching. Keep wagging, folks.